Have you ever had that gnawing feeling that you rebuilt for more, but life keeps you walking in circles? You've done everything right? You've played nice, stayed humble, checked the boxes. But somewhere deep in your gut, there's an unrest. A quiet voice that whispers, "This isn't it." You didn't come this far just to fit in. That's not anxiety. That's your ambition trying to breathe. And if you've ever felt it, if you're re-feeling it right now, don't look away. Because what we're about to unlock is not just a mindset. It's a mental weapon, and once you see it, you won't be able to go back. The fire you've been hiding, let me ask you, when was the last time you felt truly ambitious? Not just motivated, not just briefly inspired by a quote on Instagram. I mean the kind of ambition that grabs you by the spine. That says, I don't care if this mountain has never been climbed, I was born to do it anyway. If you've never felt that, or if you once did, but the world managed to tame it, you're not broken. You're just conditioned by a world that rewards obedience and punishes defiance. A system that teaches you to wait your turn, stay polite, stay small. But what if that burning impulse you've been suppressing isn't your flaw? What if it's your greatest strength? That's what this video is about. We're going to awaken what I call defiant ambition, the unapologetic drive to rise above what you were told you should be. But more importantly, we're going to anchor that fire with something most people never master: Stoic resolve. Because ambition alone is chaos. It burns hot and fast, and it'll take you down with it if it's not grounded. That's why you need a counterforce, something unshakable. Nietzsche once wrote, "Become who you are, not find become." That's a process. That's a forging. And forging requires both fire and control. So imagine this. In one hand, you hold Nietzsche's will to power the raw energy to create, to disrupt, to transcend the average. In the other, you hold Stoicism's steady grip, the mental clarity to stay calm under pressure, to focus only on what matters, to endure what others can't. Together, they don't just help you survive the chaos, they teach you to master it. What does that mean for your life? It means you stop waiting for permission. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop stalling under the illusion of "I'm not ready." You decide. You commit. You endure. Let's be clear, quoting philosophy doesn't change your life. Living it does, and this isn't about sounding smart. It's about building a version of you that doesn't fold when life hits back. Because life will hit, the rejection, the heartbreak, the betrayal. And when it does, you lying see something no one told you. The world isn't fair, and that's exactly why you can win. Because while most people get bitter, you'll get better. While most retreat, you'll rise, not out of revenge, not out of ego, but because your spirit was made for more and you finally stopped apologizing for it. Here's the truth: a quiet life isn't for everyone. Some people are built to disrupt, to leave a mark that can't be erased. And deep down, you already know if you're one of them. So if that restless voice inside you has been begging for a sign, this is it. Not from the universe, from you. The version of you that refuses to die in silence. And in the next few minutes, you'll learn how to make that ambition unbreakable. How to stand taller in the face of chaos. How to build a mindset with fire in your chest and steel in your spine. But first, one rule: use this power responsibly. Because this isn't about ego, it's not about domination. It's about transformation from the inside out. You ready? Good, because the world doesn't bend for those who play it safe. It bends slowly, reluctantly for those who refuse to stop pushing. The philosophy that built empires and can rebuild you. Here's a bold thought. What if everything you've been told about success is only half the truth? Work hard, stay humble, be consistent. These are nice, safe, socially acceptable. But the men and women who actually move history, they weren't just consistent, they were possessed by a fire. They didn't just work hard, they refused to be ordinary. And when life hit them in the mouth, they didn't complain. They recalibrated and kept moving. Now, let's make something clear. We're not here to glorify burnout or hustle for the sake of noise. We're here to talk about power, and not the kind that corrupts, but the kind that constructs. That's where Friedrich Nietzsche comes in. Nietzsche didn't care about your resume. He didn't care how many followers you had, what your grades were, or whether society approved of you. He was interested in one thing. Are you becoming who you truly are, or are you just playing a role someone else handed you? He called it the will to power, but don't mistake that for domination. What he meant was this: within every person, there's a force raw, untamed, deeply personal that wants to grow, rise, expand, and overcome. It doesn't seek comfort, it seeks meaning. It doesn't ask, is this safe? It asks, is this worthy of me? That is defiant ambition. It's not about greed. It's about transcendence, and here's where most people fall apart. They get a taste of ambition, but they're not strong enough to handle it, because ambition without discipline is just a fire with no direction. It burns everything, including you. Enter the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. These weren't monks meditating in caves, they were generals, emperors, former slaves turned philosophers. Men who lived in chaos and chose to remain calm, who lost their families, faced betrayal, saw death up close, and yet never surrendered their inner peace. Why? Because they understood a principle we've almost forgotten today. You can control what happens, but you can always control who you are in response. Where Nietzsche says, go higher, Stoicism says, stay grounded. Where Nietzsche says, create yourself, Stoicism says, master yourself. And if you think these two philosophies can't coexist, you've missed the point. Imagine a sword. Nietzsche gives it its sharpness. Stoicism gives it its handle. You see, defiant ambition without stoic resolve turns into arrogance, recklessness, exhaustion. But stoic resolve without ambition, that's stagnation dressed up as peace. You need both. Let me show you what this looks like. Say you have a dream, starting a business, mastering an art, becoming a leader who actually inspires people. Nietzsche whispers, don't wait, create, rise. He pushes you forward when everyone else is hesitating. He gives you the fire, but then things go wrong. People let you down. You hit a wall. Self-doubt creeps in. That's when Stoicism steps in and says, breathe. This is not the end. Focus on what's in your control, your mindset, your decisions, your next move. Let go of the noise. This balance is rare, but it's lethal in the best way. Nietzsche gives you the push to leap. Stoicism gives you the poise to land. Nietzsche teaches you to confront mediocrity. Stoicism teaches you to endure adversity. Put them together, and you don't just chase greatness, you sustain it. And let me be blunt, the world doesn't need more nice people afraid to speak up. It doesn't need more perfectionists waiting for the perfect time. It needs people who are ready to step into the arena, take a few hits, and keep going anyway. Not because they're fearless, but because they've chosen purpose over fear. So here's the question: are you willing to live like that? To be someone who doesn't fold when tested. Someone who dreams big, works with discipline, and stands tall even when the wind howls. This isn't about philosophy anymore. This is about your life. Because every day, you're writing your own code, not with words, but with actions. And the person you become tomorrow is shaped by how you show up today, not someday. Now, stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to take this foundation and see how it actually plays out in real life. Not in theory, but in the heat of ambition, the pain of failure, and the moments where your mind tries to betray you. That's where the battle is won. Let's go there. The inner war you must choose to win. You ever feel like you're split in two? There's the version of you that wants more growth, more depth, more control over your destiny. And then there's the version that hesitates, doubts, finds excuses. tells you to wait, to play safe, to avoid risk. Welcome to the battleground of ambition, not out there in here. We've talked about Nietzsche's fire and the Stoics' discipline. But let's be honest, ideas don't mean anything until they meet resistance. Philosophy becomes real in suffering. And that's exactly where most people give up. Why? Because they were never taught how to suffer well. They were told to succeed, not to endure. They were told to stay positive, not to become resilient. So the moment life stops cooperating, they shatter, but not you. Not if you understand the psychology behind why this mindset works. Let's start with ambition. When Nietzsche speaks of the will to power, he's describing more than ego or aggression. He's naming the human drive to overcome, the same drive that turns insecurity into strength. That transforms failure into fuel, that refuses to rot in comfort zones. In modern psychology, this maps onto intrinsic motivation, the drive that comes from within, not from applause or trophies. Studies show that people who are internally motivated are more creative, more persistent, and far less shaken by setbacks. Why? Because they're not chasing validation. They're chasing becoming. Now here's the twist. Ambition, by itself, is emotionally risky. It exposes you. It makes you vulnerable to disappointment, comparison, shame. It opens you up to the terrifying possibility that you might not be good enough. And if you don't have the mental foundation to hold that weight, you crumble. That's where Stoicism enters like a quiet warrior. Modern psychology calls it cognitive reframing, the ability to reinterpret pain, failure, and difficulty not as personal attacks, but as opportunities to develop character. And the Stoics were masters of this. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. In today's language, the obstacle is the path. Now let's bring this down from theory. Picture this. You apply for your dream job. You make it to the final round. You prepare for weeks, then you lose it. Rejection hits hard. The average person spirals. I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. The Stoic Nietzschean mindset. It asks, what did I learn? What skill must I sharpen? Where do I double down? That moment, that decision is everything. Because what breaks most people isn't failure. It's what they say to themselves after it. Let's go deeper. Dr. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset reveals a powerful truth. People who believe their abilities can be developed through effort, strategies, and feedback consistently outperform those who believe their talents are fixed. Nietzsche's entire philosophy screams this. You are not fixed, you are becoming. But if you combine that belief with Stoic emotional regulation, you get something rare, durable ambition. You don't quit after a bad day. You don't panic when things slow down. You keep moving, quietly, relentlessly. Now let's make it real with examples. Imagine someone like Rocky Balboa, a fictional character, sure. But his story resonates because it's not about winning, it's about enduring. Rocky has no business stepping into the ring with champions. But he trains anyway. He gets hit again and again. And what does he do? He gets back up. That's Nietzsche's ambition. That's Stoic discipline. Or take someone like Elon Musk, polarizing, yes, but undeniable. In 2008, he faced losing everything. Tesla was on the brink. SpaceX had failed 3 launches. The world mocked him. He could have folded. Instead, he doubled down, not because he was guaranteed success, but because the mission was bigger than the failure. That is the psychology of resolve. Now, let's turn the lens back on you. Have you ever walked away from something because it was hard? Not because it was wrong. Ever doubted yourself not because you lacked ability, but because someone else questioned it? This is your moment to stop playing defense with your own mind. You want defiant ambition. Then you must declare war on the part of you that negotiates with mediocrity, that voice that says, maybe next year, that reflex that seeks comfort instead of clarity. That pattern that tells you to settle because it's safer than failing. You want stoic resolve? Then train your focus like a soldier sharpens a blade. Practice silence when chaos erupts. Choose discipline when motivation dies. Act not when you feel like it, but because it's the right thing to do. You are not soft. You are not helpless. You are not broken. You are unfinished, and that is the most powerful place to be. So here's the challenge. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start building the version of you that does the hard thing anyway. It's not glamorous. It won't go viral. But that's the work. In the next part, we'll take all of this, the mindset, the fire, the philosophy, and turn it into simple, repeatable tools. Things you can actually do today to start showing up like the person you were born to become. Let's sharpen that blade. Turning fire into 5 tools to sharpen your mindset. Here's the brutal truth. Wanting isn't enough. You can feel inspired, fired up, even obsessed. But if you don't know how to channel that energy, it dissipates. Or worse, it turns into frustration, anxiety, and burnout. So let's stop the cycle right here. This is where defiant ambition meets disciplined action. Where ideas stop sounding good and start changing how you live. 5 tools, no theory, just practice. Let's break them down. Tool number 1. Define your whys in blood. Nodding. Let's be honest, most people have no idea what they actually want. They just know what they don't want. Boredom, mediocrity, regret. But avoiding pain isn't purpose. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." So here's your task. Define your defiant why. Not a cliche, not a slogan, but the reason that still burns even when your motivation dies. Not "I want to be successful," too vague. Try, "I want to build a business that frees my family from generational struggle." Not "I want to get in shape." Try, "I want a body that reflects the discipline I demand of my mind." Your why must be specific, emotional, and slightly terrifying. Because if it doesn't scare you a little, it won't move you when life gets heavy. Write it down, 1 sentence, bold letters. Put it somewhere you'll see it every morning. Tool number 2, control the controllables and abandon the rest. One of the fastest ways to destroy your ambition is by obsessing over things you can control. That's why the Stoics were ruthless in their focus. Their mindset: if you can't control it, don't carry it. Try this exercise. Grab a blank page. Draw a line down the middle. Label the left side "my control," the right side "not my control." On the left, list things like your focus, your decisions, your effort, your response, your preparation. On the right, other people's opinions, the economy, luck, the past. Now tear off the right side and burn it mentally or literally. You don't need it. This is the clarity most people never get. They waste their energy fighting battles that can't be won. Meanwhile, you focus on what matters and win battles before they even start. Tool number 3, visualize obstacles like a warrior prepares for war. Most people visualize success. That's fine, but the Stoics did something smarter. They visualized what could go wrong and how they'd respond. It's called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Every morning, take 5 minutes, close your eyes. Picture the day ahead. Your meeting gets canceled, a project fails. Someone disappoints you. Now ask, what will I do when not if that happens? Not in panic, not in self-pity, but with strategy, with poise. The goal isn't negativity, it's preparedness. You're not afraid of the storm. You've already sailed through it in your mind. This tool trains emotional durability. It builds a calm that others mistake for magic. Tool number 4, the 1% rule. Progress is the only proof you don't need a grand plan. You need a next step, 1% improvement. Every day, that's it. If you want to learn a skill, don't binge tutorials. Spend 15 focused minutes practicing. If you're building something, don't obsess over perfection. Ship version 1, improve tomorrow. Nietzsche's ambition thrives on motion, not perfection progress. Set a daily non-negotiable, one action that nudges the needle forward. Track it, respect it. Over time, it compounds into something unstoppable. Small wins are sacred. Treat them that way. Tool number 5, the evening audit. Become your own coach the day ends. Most people scroll, zone out, collapse. You sharpen. Set a 5-minute window every evening to ask 3 questions. 1. What did I do well? 2. What needs work? 3. Did I honor my why? Write it down. No fluff, no judgment, just data. This is where discipline becomes identity, where you stop hoping and start sculpting. And when you do this consistently, something changes. You stop being a passive consumer of days and become an active creator of your direction. Let's recap. 1. Define your why, make it visceral. 2. Control the controllables, release the rest. 3. Visualize setbacks, plan your composure. 4. Improve 1% every day, no exceptions. 5. Reflect at night, course correct daily. This is not motivation. This is operation. Defiant ambition without a system is chaos. But defiant ambition with stoic discipline, that's unstoppable. Next, we bring it all together. You've got the fire. You've got the structure. Now it's time to walk forward with resolve and make your life a living philosophy. Let's close strong. Defy, endure, become. This is it. You've seen the fire of Nietzsche, the relentless will to rise, to create, to become. You've felt the grounding force of Stoicism, the discipline to endure, to stay calm, to keep moving when others fold. And now, it's not about knowing anymore. It's about choosing, because no one's coming to give you permission. No mentor, no guru, no breakthrough is going to make the decision for you. You do that, brick by brick. Choice by choice, you already feel it, that low-grade tension. The quiet ache that says, there's more in you. Why are you still holding back? Don't ignore that voice. Don't smother it with comfort. Don't let it die under the weight of other people's expectations. Because you weren't built to be average. You weren't made to coast. You're here to disrupt, to break your own limits, to challenge what's normal, to become something that once scared you. And yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will be lonely sometimes. Yes, it will demand sacrifice, but every time you choose action over avoidance, every time you stay in the fight one round longer than you thought you could, every time you move not because it's easy, but because it's right, you're stepping into who you were meant to be. So here's your next move. Pick one tool, just one. Maybe it's defining your why. Maybe it's controlling what you can. Doesn't matter where you start, only that you start. 7 days. One tool, total honesty. Because this wasn't just a video, this was a door. The only question is, will you walk through it? This isn't the end. It's your first real step. If this resonated, if something inside you is awake now, burning, hungry, don't silence it. Act. Not because I said so, but because the cost of not acting is too high. Drop your commitment in the comments. Share the tool you're taking on. Not for likes, for accountability. And if you want more content like this, more philosophy you can use, more fire you can harness, more tools that actually work, subscribe. Not just to this channel, subscribe to the path you're building. We're just getting started, and trust me, the next video, it goes even deeper. So until then, stay sharp, stay unshakable, and whatever happens, defy, endure, become. We'll build this together. See you in the next one.